Shedeur Sanders' development so far in the Browns offense, as well as Dillon Gabriel's development in the Browns offense, and what you've seen so far, boots on the ground in Cleveland. Your thoughts?
Okay, so from the first minute of rookie minicamp, when I saw Shedeur pick up a ball and throw it between drills, I've been impressed. And just talking to people, I think he's handled himself well inside the building, and they're impressed by what they saw. So I understand the angst, the anticipation. People want to see him, and he's a talented kid, right? He really is. So I think people should also understand that a fourth quarterback is never going to get a chance with the ones in June, right? Like it's just not how it works, right? So that being said, there's probably never been a situation like this, or at least not one to which I can personally relate, right? You have four guys who, have some claim at the job. You have a clear leader to me in Joe Flacco, who was drafted the year Shedeur was in kindergarten, right? Has done it all and seen it all in this league. And has played in this offense before. He's the only one that has played in this offense before, so he's the leader. So, as far as what we saw in the spring, most every day, and this is like 6 or 7 viewings, Bailey, I saw Shedeur throw it well, throw it with confidence. We didn't see him against much rush. We didn't see him against many guys who are going to play in the NFL, frankly. We didn't see him for more than 3 or 4 snaps at a time. So if he does right and studies right and continues to master the offense and throw the way he's thrown, they're not going to be able to ignore him, and he is going to get more chances in the summer. But we're going to see how that goes. I feel like, and Kevin Stefanski kind of half acknowledged this without going into detail, I feel like some days we didn't see much of Joe Flacco because he is the known commodity, right? They know what he is, right? So you have Dillon Gabriel and Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett has started 20-plus games in this league, some big games too. They feel like if he's at his best that he's a fit for this offense, and they feel like he's mobile enough to create when things break down. That probably gives him an edge on most of the other guys. Dillon Gabriel can create on the move. He is super accurate. He won them over in the process. Winning the interviews and winning on accuracy and command, and having come into 3 different situations in college in engineered and efficient offense. So I don't think Dillon Gabriel is big enough to play in the NFL. I've been flat out about that. But I will say this. The only 2 days that I thought Dillon Gabriel was impressive in the spring were the last 2 days. So does that mean he's catching on, right? And it just needed to click? It can mean that. But I'll answer whatever question you want. But I will say that outside of having a fairly strong feeling that Joe Flacco is going to start the opener in early September, I truly believe there are 100 ways this can go. And that means with who gets the reps in August and who's actually playing or on the team in November, because I don't know. And I think you can make a case for it going a number of different ways.
I understand. I don't know if it's fatigue, but I can't imagine as a Cleveland Browns reporter, because I just know from the Colorado fans, I mean, they're passionate. Like, they're passionate. They love this. I mean, I've never seen – like, they have ESPN Cleveland putting out OTA stat sheets, and I just – it's unbelievable, Zach. It's unbelievable to me. But I've shared the same sentiment to you the whole time. I thought Flacco was the presumed starter, the right guy to start for Cleveland. He just led you guys to a playoff appearance at least. And I thought he was a great quarterback, Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP as well. I mean, I thought he was great, to have in the room to mentor the younger quarterbacks as well. Now, I got to ask you, going into the season, do you expect the Browns to roster 4 quarterbacks?
I don't. I think it's in play, but I don't, right? I think the scenario where they do is if they feel like that one or both of the rookies just aren't ready. Because 2 years ago, they got themselves in a situation. They were all in on Deshaun Watson, right? And they had an opportunity late in training camp to trade Josh Dobbs, who we know has been around and has succeeded as a backup and is so smart, can learn an offense in a day.
Yeah.
And they chose to do that. Well, we didn't even get out of September. Deshaun got hurt. Wasn't sure if he could play. Dorian Thompson got thrown out there, thrown to the Wolves, was not ready. So I do think that there's a situation where they feel like, hey, if we can't have these rookies slip away, if no real trade presents itself now, we know somebody's going to get hurt eventually. So we can hold on to those 4. So I do think it's realistic, but I don't think it's ideal. So I think it really comes down to, okay, does Dillon Gabriel go out and have an outstanding camp and show that he's ready to play, even if it's in a pinch, even if he's never going to be a starter? So then he could be the number 2. And then Shedeur can, however camp goes for him, can continue to grow and play on the scout team and get himself ready for down the road. I just think, Bailey, I think if whatever went on with Shedeur and whatever reasons, multiple, or the reasons that he dropped that far, I think if any team thought that he was ready to play in September, he would not have dropped nearly as far as he did. Right. And I think that that's a sentiment that's shared from some folks inside the building of just the thought of, hey, we really got something here, but let's not judge him on every throw in June and July. And let's not think that it has to be this September. Like, let's let him go through the ups and downs and learn and have a great day in camp and have an awful day in camp and then see, right? These are long seasons. And man, that's why I look so damn old, because I've covered a lot of Browns games in December, right, where they've had no chance. So I think it's in the 25 years they've been back, I think it's 11 or 12 times that at least 3 quarterbacks have played. And in 3 of the last 4 years, 4 different starting quarterbacks have played for this team.
Wow, man. Now, I want to look on the positive side for Cleveland here. Expectations with Joe Flacco as week 1 starter. I think he can have some success. I think that leaves, that takes Shedeur Sanders or even Dillon Gabriel playing out of the picture. Now, in my head, it's really hard for me to see Cleveland rostering 4 quarterbacks. One thing that popped into my head, Derek Carr retiring. Kenny Pickett has the connection playing with Kellen Moore, Moore system in Philly. And, you mentioned that you think a rookie is more likely to, be shipped off potentially than a veteran.
No, if I said that, I didn't mean – I think both rookies will be on the team.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
But I think the situation where all 4 make it is where they're not sure the rookies are ready and where a trade does not materialize. Like New Orleans, that makes sense. If Philly would get in a jam, they could go back to Kenny Pickett in a day. He knows that offense, right? But I think – and the Browns tried this last year. On their initial 53-man roster on August 27th or whatever it was, they kept 4. And they didn't cut the 4th until the following week. So I think there's a scenario where they would keep 4 and let a trade scenario develop. So I could be totally wrong on this. But like I said, my feeling coming out of camp ending 2 weeks ago or whenever it was, is that it's really two-man competitions, right? It's Flacco versus Pickett for the starting job to be the starter from September until whenever, right? And then it's the rookies against each other and against just being a rookie in the grand scheme of things. So, eventually they have to decide who's that second active guy, who's 1 snap away, who can play, right? In an ideal world, that would reveal itself, right? And I think there is some chance that Shedeur goes out and plays so well in August that it's him. But I would have to say that. I'd have to see that to really believe that. And I think from any rookie, you have to see it, right? Even if these guys were both taken 50 spots ahead of where they were, how could you say that they're really going to ready or going to be ready, or that we're going to learn a ton from them playing against 3s and 4s on August 8th in Carolina?
Oh, I agree with you. Yeah, I 100% agree with you.
So that's why I think it was so notable that right away they were doing competitive drills in rookie minicamp. They were adding these things because they really want every possible evaluation period. And then when those preseason games come and those joint practices really come, then they can feel like, hey, does this match what we've seen altogether? Are the guys really showing in the meeting room that they're learning, that they're commanding the huddle and all of those things? Because that's what it's going to come down to, because whoever is number 2 has to operate like he's a snap away from having these guys' jobs in their hands on September 7th.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And well said, Zach. Man,